I've worked customs for 11 years. I've seen every trick, such as fake baby formula stuffed with drugs, jackets with cash sewn into the lining. That day, a student came up for inspection with an ordinary suitcase, and he is well behaved. The x-ray showed nothing unusual, but I didn't let him through. I made him open it, and there, inside a hidden compartment, 3 stones lay perfectly still. Dull gray, the kind you'd find in any riverbed. I stared at them for 3 seconds, said nothing. Then I picked up my radio and spoke one code phrase. 10 minutes later, the entire airport was on lockdown. 11 years in customs. This job has worn away every unrealistic dream I once had, and forged every sharp instinct in me. I've seen mothers hiding drugs in baby formula cans, their eyes full of despair. I've seen businessmen sewing stacks of US dollars into jacket linings, their eyes full of greed. I've seen smugglers swallowing dozens of capsules, trying to cross the border with their own bodies, their eyes blank and numb. 11 years. I've seen too many eyes, and I've trained mine to read them all. Today I'm on duty at Terminal 3 International Arrivals. Inspection counter 6, 3 in the afternoon. Foot traffic is steady. A young man pushes a silver suitcase up to my counter. An ordinary young man. White t-shirt, jeans, black-framed glasses. A student by the look of him. He hands me his passport. The cover is brand new. I open it. Leo, 21 years old, returning from studies in Country H. Welcome home. Thank you. One moment, sir. Your luggage needs to go through the x-ray. Of course. He nods, no impatience at all, and lifts the suitcase onto the belt himself. Everything is too proper. Too normal. I watch the monitor. The x-ray sweeps through the case. Clothes, books, a few packs of local snacks, a razor, all clear and orderly. No anomalous densities, no suspicious shapes. My colleague Wesley, monitoring the x-ray, flashes me an OK sign. I don't move. My eyes stay on Leo's face. He's standing there quietly waiting, a faint smile on his lips, but his left thumb is unconsciously, rapidly stroking the second knuckle of his index finger, over and over. A classic tell, using a smile and a repetitive motion to ease extreme inner tension. What is he nervous about? A suitcase with nothing wrong. Leo nods at me, ready to grab his luggage. Sir, your case is cleared. You may go. Open it. My voice is quiet, but clear. Wesley freezes for a beat. Leo's hand, reaching for the case, stops mid-air. His smile stiffens for an instant. Officer, didn't you just say it was fine? Routine check. Please open the case. All right. He lifts the suitcase onto the counter, enters the code, and opens it. Inside, it's as neat as he is. Clothes folded into perfect squares. Books vacuum sealed, jacketed, stacked in the corner. I put on gloves and begin to search one item at a time, flipping through every book, finding nothing. Other passengers are already grumbling, complaining that I'm wasting their time. Wesley looks embarrassed too, as if wondering whether I'm being too paranoid today. The corner of Leo's mouth even curves back into a faint smile. A relieved smile. I ignore them all. I empty the suitcase completely. Then I wrap my knuckles softly against the bottom lining. Thud, thud, thud. The sound is dull and heavy. I raise my eyes to Leo. The smile is gone. His face has gone bone white. Open the hidden compartment. I didn't know it had one. I'll say it once more. Open it. I pull a multi-tool screwdriver from beneath the counter. Leo stares at it. His lips begin to tremble. I don't bother with more words. I jam the flat head into the seam of the lining and pry hard. Click. The panel splits open. A thin gap forms. A faint smell drifts out. A mix of soil and machine oil. I tear the panel away. Inside the hidden compartment is a thick layer of foam with 3 precisely shaped slots, and in those slots lie 3 stones. Dull gray, rough, irregular edges. The kind of pebbles you could pick up by any riverbank. Wesley leans in and looks. Stones? All this for stones? The surrounding passengers murmur, buzzing with confusion. Leo looks like the strength has drained out of him. He slumps against the counter, gasping, staring at the 3 stones. His eyes filled with, I don't look at him. All my attention is on those stones. I stare at them for 3 seconds. Then I reach out and pick one up. Cold to the touch, heavy, rough-surfaced, even smudged with dried dirt. I lift it to my eyes, turning it under the bright overhead lamp at different angles. And at one precise, almost imperceptible angle, a thread of violet light, thinner than a hair, almost invisible, flickers across the surface of the stone and vanishes. My heart sinks. I set the stone down. Without a word, I lift the radio from my shoulder and press the call button. Counter 6, the stone is hard. The radio falls silent for a second. Then Captain Kevin's voice comes through, sharp and absolute. Copy. 10 minutes later, every exit in Terminal 3 is sealed off. Piercing alarms tear through the air. The moment the alarm goes off, the inspection hall erupts. Passengers screaming, children crying, urgent evacuation announcements blasting over the speakers. Total chaos. Leo collapses to the floor, face drained of color. I ignore him. First, I place the 3 stones back into the compartment, seal the panel, close the suitcase, and slap a top-level evidence seal on it. By the time I'm done, fully armed airport tactical police are storming in. They cordon off the area. Nobody moves! Stay where you are! Their shouts cut through everything. Captain Kevin strides toward me with 2 officers from the Customs Anti-Smuggling Unit, his expression more serious than I've ever seen, veins standing out on his forehead. Status? Target, Leo, male 21, returning student from Country H. Anomalous item, 3 stones in the hidden compartment. The stone is hard. Captain Kevin's pupils contract sharply. The phrase, the stone is hard, corresponds, in Customs internal protocol, to the highest level national security threat. Once that alarm is triggered, it means there may be smuggling activity capable of shaking the nation's fundamental interests. The authority to handle it goes beyond Customs. It must be escalated immediately to national security, who will take over. Captain Kevin and I have worked together for 7 years. I have never used this code phrase. Not once. He knows I would never joke about this. You're sure? 100%. This is Captain Kevin of the Capitol Airport Inspection Division, initiating special containment protocol. Target identified at Terminal 3, Counter 6, requesting immediate takeover by Top Special Operations. Less than 20 minutes later, 3 black sedans roll directly onto the tarmac through a restricted access route. A group of sharp-eyed people in suits steps out. At the front is a woman, around 30, her gaze sharp as a blade. She wears no visible badge. The moment she appears, the head of airport security steps forward and salutes her. Selena, Top Special Operations, Incident Commander, where is the target and the anomalous evidence? Captain Kevin points to Leo, already being loaded into an armored vehicle, and to the metal case held separately. Who made the discovery? I did. Selena's eyes linger on me for a few seconds, as if x-raying me. Walk me through it. I give her a concise account, from the moment Leo approached the counter to the discovery of the stones. My read of his micro-expressions, my inspection of the case. You pried open the compartment, saw stones, and immediately escalated to national security. What's the threat? What gives you the authority to judge that 3 ordinary stones constitute a national security threat? Instinct. Instinct. Officer, do you understand how much economic damage shutting down the entire Capitol Airport will cost? Do you know how many international flights are being diverted right now? Do you know what kind of responsibility you'll bear if this turns out to be a false alarm? The questions hit like bullets. I don't flinch. I meet her gaze. I'm not gambling, because I saw violet light. Under the lamp at a specific angle, I saw a thread of violet light flicker across the surface, so faint, but I saw it. That's the real reason I triggered the alarm. I'm telling the truth. 3 years ago, my mentor, the senior officer, Master Reyes, was killed during a border smuggling operation. What they intercepted that day was a new type of contraband disguised as ordinary mineral rock. At the internal briefing afterward, I saw the description, under a specific light source, its core material would emit a unique violet glow. After that incident, the code phrase, the stone is hard, and the operation behind it, Operation Bedrock, were formally established. Fewer than 5 people in the entire customs system know this detail. Captain Kevin is one of them. Selena clearly doesn't. She lets out a cold laugh. Violet light? Have you been reading too many novels? Take the evidence to the isolation lab. Have the tech team analyze it immediately. Take the target to the interrogation room. I need to commandeer one of your private rooms. And this customs officer, until I reach a conclusion, he can't leave this airport. He must stay on call for the investigation. She turns and walks away, heels clicking sharp and firm against the floor. Damien, I'm staking my uniform on you. Captain Kevin sighs, but says nothing more. The hours that follow are agonizing. I'm placed in a small break room, with 2 officers standing guard at the door. No phone, no contact with the outside. Time crawls. Outside, night falls. Terminal 3 remains locked down. The tarmac is empty, silent as a ghost city. Outside, I imagine, the storm is raging, but my heart is strangely calm. I trust my eyes, and I trust my mentor even more. Around midnight, the door is thrown open. Selena strides in. Her face is colder than before, her eyes burning with restrained fury. She slams a file down on the table in front of me. Officer Damien, you'd better explain this. I pick up the file. It's the preliminary lab report. The conclusion, in bold black type, stings my eyes. How is that possible? My people interrogated Leo for 8 hours. He stuck to one story from start to finish. He picked up the stones by a river while traveling in Country H, thought they looked nice, and brought them home as souvenirs. We dug into his social ties and family background, spotlessly clean. Every piece of evidence points to one thing: you are lying. And the violet light? Nothing. My tech team used the most advanced equipment in the country. We scanned those stones inside and out. Not a single trace of purple. Damien, I'm giving you 12 hours, from now until noon tomorrow. Either you produce hard evidence that those stones are a national security threat, or you go to military tribunal. Because of your so-called instinct and violet light, we've already missed the window to catch a much bigger fish. Now get to the detention cell and think about how you're going to prove you're not just a lunatic showing off. Move. 2 officers step in, gripping me on either side. I saw it. The same flash of light as the photo from the briefing 3 years ago. So where did it go wrong? They lock me in a windowless cell. Just an iron bed inside. I sit down, force myself calm, and replay everything from this afternoon, frame by frame. Leo, his expression, his movements, weight, his left hand, that stroking motion. The instant I pried open the compartment and saw the stones, that's when his tension peaked. I remember now. But when I picked up the stone and held it under the lamp, his expression, beyond the fear, there was something else. What was it? Relief. In that instant, his face showed relief. What was he relieved about? Relieved that I was using the wrong light. Open the door. I need to see Selena. I need to re-examine the evidence. I know what went wrong. Standing at the door is Captain Kevin. His face is haggard, his eyes red. Clearly, he hasn't slept. Come on. I follow him down a long corridor. I read the lab report too, Damien. This has blown up too far. Captain, I didn't lie. The problem isn't the stones. It's the light. What light? I've read the internal briefing on Master Reyes's case more than a dozen times. The report mentioned that the violet glow doesn't appear under just any light. It only reacts to a very specific, narrow-band light source. That frequency was something our country had just achieved in classified experiments, a fully secret optical wavelength. No standard detection equipment could ever be tuned to that parameter. That's why you saw nothing but 3 worthless stones. Captain Kevin stops walking. He turns and stares at me hard. How sure are you? 100%. Captain Kevin is silent for a moment. Then he pulls out his phone and dials the encrypted line again. This time, he says nothing extra. Just relays my words verbatim. The other end goes quiet. Then after a long pause, Selena's icy voice. Give him one chance. I'll meet him at the isolation lab. Inside the isolation lab, the air is heavy enough to drip. The 3 stones rest on the pure white workbench. Several technicians in white lab coats stand to the side, their eyes filled with skepticism and contempt. Selena stands in the corner shadows, arms folded. Damien, you may begin. I need a tunable laser emitter with a wavelength range that reaches into the deep ultraviolet. Do you even know what you're saying, deep UV? You think this is some sci-fi lab? Do as he says. The technician looks unwilling, but he goes to prepare it. Soon, a precision instrument is wheeled over. This is the most advanced equipment we can mobilize within the city. It can go down to 200 nanometers. That enough for you? I nod. I step up to the device and shut off all the standard lighting in the lab, switching to full blackout mode. Lights die out one by one. The whole room sinks into darkness. Only the faint green glow of the instrument's screen lights my face. I draw a deep breath and begin tuning the wavelength. From 760 nanometers down, red, orange, yellow, green, the 3 stones on the workbench show no change. Still dull and gray. Sweat beads on my forehead. See, I told you, quit playing tricks. Selena's brow furrows too. Her patience is running thin. I ignore them and keep going down. 400 nanometers, 300. Into the ultraviolet band, 250. Officer Damien, you're running out of time. I clench my teeth, fingers steady on the dial. When the wavelength indicator lands precisely on one mark, 217.3 nanometers, that's the number. The same number I saw 3 years ago in Master Reyes's report, flagged as an experimental parameter. My hand freezes. I look up at the workbench. And then, a miracle. Under that specific UV beam, the 3 plain stones come alive. Their interiors light up. Countless delicate, intricate filaments of violet light, like a galaxy of stars, flow slowly through the stones, weaving into a 3-dimensional network of unimaginable complexity. Those aren't stones. They're a miniature universe made of pure light. The entire lab falls dead silent. Everyone is struck speechless by the gorgeous, eerie spectacle. The technicians' mouths fall open wide enough to fit eggs, eyes nearly bulging from their sockets. In the corner, Selena suddenly steps out of the shadows. She moves quickly to the workbench, staring at the stones as if they're alive, her eyes filled with shock and disbelief. She whips around to face me. Gone is the earlier contempt and scorn. In its place, shock and a trace of fear. How do you know about this wavelength? This is a top-tier national optical secret. Her encrypted phone starts ringing wildly in her pocket. Selena snaps out of it and fumbles to answer. Speak. Director Selena, Leo just now, he broke completely. He says he was recruited by an organization in country H. They gave him a large sum of money to bring 3 raw stones back into the country. He says the handler told him these stones were absolutely safe, no instrument could detect them unless illuminated by the key light at exactly 217.3 nanometers. And he says the meeting point is at... Selena's phone slips from her fingers. The color drains from her face. She finally understands. The reason I know a classified frequency even she didn't know isn't because my clearance is high enough. It's because this intelligence was paid for 3 years ago with my mentor's life. And she had nearly sent the man who carried that hard-won legacy, the apprentice of a hero, to a military tribunal as a madman. The lab is so silent everyone can hear heartbeats each other. The violet galaxy flowing through those 3 stones like a phantom from another world mocks our ignorance. Where is the meeting point? The National Digital Library, 3rd floor, Section C, Locker 307, meeting time, 3 o'clock this afternoon, less than 2 hours. Captain Kevin hangs up and looks at Selena. Selena is looking at me. Her gaze is more complicated than I've ever seen. There is scrutiny, disbelief, apology, and even a trace of awe. She straightens up and gives me a deep, formal bow, a senior official from National Security, bowing to a frontline customs officer. The technicians and anti-smuggling officers nearby are stunned. I don't step away. I accept her apology calmly, because I know she isn't apologizing to me. She's apologizing to my mentor, Master Reyes, the man who paid with his life 3 years ago for this secret. Now isn't the time. We have 1 hour and 50 minutes left. That single sentence pulls Selena out of her emotion. Her eyes turn sharp as a blade again. She spins around and starts issuing orders with razor precision. Tech team, seal the 3 stones in a top-grade energy isolation containment box and prepare for transport. Captain Kevin, I need to commandeer your best inspection officers for this operation. Comms, get me the traffic command center. I want an absolute green corridor from this airport to the National Digital Library. Every traffic light on the route turned green. Action team, everyone downstairs within 1 minute. Target, National Digital Library. The earlier defeat and doubt are gone, replaced by the adrenaline of imminent battle. And you, Officer Damien, Under the Special Investigation Act, I am, as director of the Bedrock Task Force, hereby drafting you as a special advisor to the case. From this moment on, you will be part of every step of this operation until the crisis is resolved. Your judgment will directly affect my decisions. Any objections? None. Good. Move out. 5 minutes later, a special convoy, 3 black sedans and 2 customs assault vehicles, roars out of the airport's restricted route, sirens blaring at maximum priority, like a black blade slicing through the city. I sit in the back seat of the middle car, Selena on my left, Captain Kevin on my right. The atmosphere in the car is suffocating. Selena is holding an encrypted tablet scrolling rapidly. Leo has confessed everything. He's just a courier, the outermost pawn, bought with money. The organization that recruited him calls itself the Ark, a deeply secretive transnational organization we've never heard of. Their goal is to get these raw stones into our country at any cost. What is this thing really? We don't know. The National Security Database has no record of the raw stones whatsoever. They appeared out of nowhere. Leo says the Ark told him these stones are a gift from heaven. The God Key, powerful enough to reshape the world. The God Key. I watch the streetscape blur past the window. The unease in my chest grows heavier. I keep feeling this is far more than smuggling. Whatever it is, we cannot let it reach the handler. Selena glances at me, a hint of approval in her eyes. Right. I've activated the maximum level capture protocol. The entire digital library is now a net laid out for the handler. The moment he shows, I promise, not even a fly gets out. The convoy tears through the city. A trip that should take over an hour is compressed to 30 minutes by the traffic department's full cooperation. At 2:10 in the afternoon, the convoy executes a clean drift and pulls up at the side entrance of the National Digital Library. The doors fly open. Dozens of national security tactical operatives in black combat gear, fully armed, slip out like leopards, silently, swiftly, taking up tactical positions. Captain Kevin and his anti-smuggling officers seal off every exit. Damien, with me. Selena leads me through a hidden staff corridor straight into the library's central security control room. A dozen technicians are already at their stations, poised. On the massive wall-mounted display, hundreds of live camera feeds show every corner of the library. Sir, all exits secured. Sir, 3rd floor, section C cleared. All civilians removed. Sir, K9 unit in position. Visual is clear. The reports stream in over the earpiece. Selena stands before the display, her eyes cold as ice. Now we wait for the fish to bite. Damien, I need your eyes for this. Of everyone here, you're the only one who has seen the ghost. I need you to help me find the one that slipped in among the crowd. Time crawls by. In the control room, only the hum of the equipment breaks the silence. Every nerve is drawn tight like a bow at full draw. The clock on the wall, its red digits ticking like a countdown bomb, pounds against every heart. The scheduled meeting time arrives. On the screen, the entrance to Section C on the 3rd floor is empty. Not a soul. Target hasn't appeared. All teams stay sharp. Do not relax. Her face shows no anxiety, but the knuckles gripping the radio have gone faintly white, betraying her tension. I stare at the screen too. How would the handler arrive? As a man in a sharp suit? Or an unassuming cleaner? Or maybe he wouldn't come at all, but instead remotely direct some clueless civilian to complete the handoff. I put myself in the handler's shoes and run through every scenario. Time keeps moving. 3:03 p.m. Still nothing. Director Selena, could the target be a no-show? Quiet. Leo's capture happened inside the airport. The news did not leak. They don't know the courier is down. They will come. Unless, she doesn't finish, but I understand. Unless the handler's idea of a meeting isn't the same as ours. My eyes sweep across the feeds of the 1st floor lobby. People coming and going, bustling, white-haired elders, bright-eyed students, parents with children. Everything is so normal, so full of ordinary life. If I were the handler, what would I do? I would never sneak in at the exact meeting time, too obvious. I would arrive long before, enter the library as a normal reader, find a quiet corner, sit down with a book, like a drop dissolving into the sea. Then, once I'd confirmed the environment was clean, I'd quietly move to the meeting point, so he might already be in this building. Director Selena, pull every camera feed back 10 minutes before 3. Focus on every single male who entered the library between 2:50 and 3 o'clock. Selena hesitates for a beat, then catches on. Move. Do as he says. The technicians spring into action. The 100+ feeds rewind rapidly. Time locks at 2:50. Playback begins at 8 times speed. Figures stream past the library doors. I point at one tile on the wall. A discrete corner camera. The face is blurry. In the frame, a man is passing through the entry checkpoint. Medium build, around 45 to 50. A gray jacket, gold-rimmed glasses. A copy of Faust, in the German edition, in his hand. He looks like a university professor or scholar here for research. Zoom in on his face. The frame enlarges. After enhancement, the man's face becomes clear. An utterly ordinary face. No distinguishing features. The kind that would vanish in a crowd. Run him. Facial recognition now. I want everything on him. The National Security Database spins up. Seconds later, results return. Got him, Director. Professor Chase, 52 years old. Professor of German Studies at Capital University. Doctoral advisor. Family background and social ties completely clean. Not a single stain on his record. He holds a long-term reader's pass at the National Digital Library. Visits here 2 to 3 times a week. Highly regular habits. A perfect, flawless identity. Where is he now? Located. His last position is the 2nd floor social sciences reading area near aisle K. Put his live feed on the main screen. On the main display, Professor Chase appears clearly. He's sitting at a table by the window, quietly reading, sunlight pouring over him, so peaceful, so serene. A cup of steaming tea sits in front of him. The whole scene is as perfect as a painting. Too perfect. Perfect like a disguise. He's our man. Why? Look at his hands. A scholar who reads constantly, what should his fingers look like? From years of turning pages, the pads of the index finger and thumb develop a thin, smooth callus from friction. But look at his hands. On screen, Professor Chase lifts his cup to drink. His fingers are long, clean, fingertips full, skin smooth, no trace of any callus. Those aren't a scholar's hands. Those are hands that rarely touch a paper book, maybe rarely even hold a pen. And the book in front of him, he's been sitting there nearly 20 minutes, and he hasn't turned a single page. Selena's pupils contract instantly. Sniper team. Target lock, second floor, social sciences area, seat K17. At any abnormal movement, you are authorized to neutralize on sight. Just then, the man on screen, as if sensing something, closes the book and stands. He adjusts his glasses, glances at his watch, and starts walking, unhurried, toward the stairwell. The direction, third floor. Everyone in the control room holds their breath. The fish is finally biting. Professor Chase walks with steady steps, relaxed posture, like a reader tired of his book, going upstairs for a change of scenery. Step by step, he climbs the stairs and disappears around the bend between the second and third floors. On the third floor stairwell feed, he reappears. He arrives on the third floor, the junction between Section C reading area and the storage zone. According to the clearance plan, this area should be completely empty. Professor Chase stands still, scanning his surroundings. His eyes sweep the empty corridor, his face still wearing the gentle scholar's expression. But his eyes are sharp as a hawk's. He's confirming the environment, confirming this is a safe drop point, not a safe-looking trap. The control room is dead silent, every fist clenched, afraid that even the slightest sound might alert the man on screen. Time stretches. Each second feels like a century. Finally, Professor Chase seems satisfied. He steps forward, walking directly toward the lockers in Section C, his target unmistakable, Locker 307. He pulls a key from his pocket, not an ordinary locker key, but an antique brass key, oddly shaped. He slides it into the keyhole of Locker 307. Move! Selena's voice cracks like splitting ice, exploding in every earpiece. The words have barely left her lips when, from the previously empty corridor, from behind the shelves, from the ceiling vents, over a dozen black figures appear. National Security's elite operatives. Ghosts born from shadow, silent, lightning fast. A specialized electromagnetic pulse net drops from above, enveloping Professor Chase. A dozen muzzles point at him from every direction. From the start of the operation to total subdual, less than half a second. Professor Chase hasn't even had time to finish turning the key. His expression freezes. The gentle scholar mask shatters in an instant, replaced by intense shock and an eerie smile. Yes, he's smiling. With over a dozen guns pointed at his head, he's smiling. Professor Chase, you're under arrest. Professor Chase doesn't look at her. His gaze travels past everyone and lands on my face. His eyes are strange. No anger, no fear. Only the playful, appreciative look of a hunter watching prey. So, you're the customs officer. You're the one who saw through the raw stones. Impressive. I didn't expect that besides the gatekeepers there were eyes like yours still around. Looks like the Ark's intelligence needs updating. Take him away. Two operatives step forward and snap a specialized pair of cuffs on him. Another team begins the body search and opens locker 307. What they find on him is remarkably simple. A wallet, a few bank cards, some cash, the oldest model of Nokia phone, no smart features at all, and that German copy of Faust. No weapon, no poison, no codebook. Cleaner than any agent has any right to be. As Professor Chase is escorted past me, he suddenly stops. He leans his head toward my ear and, in a voice only the two of us can hear, whispers, "When you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. Welcome to the real world." Operatives push him forward again. Cold sweat soaks through my shirt. A bone-deep chill rushes from my feet to the crown of my head. This man knows me. He wasn't here for the handoff. From the moment he entered the library, his target may have been me. This was a trap. A death trap meant for me. But it's too late. As Professor Chase's body is about to be pushed into the elevator, his neck, at an angle no human body should achieve, twists violently. A sharp crack of bone. He snapped his own neck. His body crumples to the floor, the victor's smile still on his face. It all happens in a flash. Everyone is stunned. Dead. The only lead, just like that, has taken his own life in front of us all, with such absolute resolve, in such an impossible way. The scene falls into utter silence. Check the book. Something clicks in my mind. I rush over and grab Faust from the evidence bag, flipping wildly through the pages. No hidden compartment, no markings, just an ordinary printed book. But when I reach the last page, my pupils contract. At the bottom of the copyright page, beneath the publication date, there's a faint pencil note, almost erased, a string of numbers. Not a page number, not a code, a coordinate, a latitude and longitude. I hold up the book to show Selena. Her eyes lock on the numbers, sharpening instantly. Lock down this coordinate. Now, the tech team scrambles into action. The main display flips to a massive satellite map. A red dot begins pulsing on the map. Selena walks up to the screen, staring hard at the dot. Where is this? The technician zooms in fast. The dot sits deep in a stretch of unbroken mountains on the city's outskirts. Director, the coordinate points to the Kunlun Biological Research Center. The Kunlun Biological Research Center. Selena's body jolts. She steadies herself against the table to keep from falling. She stares at the red dot as if she could burn through it. Isn't that the secret base that was abandoned 10 years ago? Why would the coordinate point there? The control room falls dead silent again. The Kunlun Biological Research Center. For people inside national security, this name means taboo, means sealed secrets, means the nation's most classified experiments, the kind no one ever speaks of. 10 years ago, that base was shut down after a sudden disaster. Officially declared abandoned. Every related document classified at the highest level, permanently sealed. Not even mentioned. And now, the lead Professor Chase left at the moment of his death points right there. I stare at the red dot ringed by mountains on the map. My instinct tells me this goes far deeper than we imagine. Damien? Selena's eyes sharpen again, but this time without doubt. Only trust. Do you remember the mission 3 years ago when your mentor, Master Reyes, was killed? The new contraband they intercepted? What did the report say about its origin? The report stated the shipment was intercepted through a foreign secret channel. But during the internal briefing, Master Reyes said that, based on the fragments of intelligence they'd traced, the shipment's final destination pointed to a secret base in the vicinity of the Kunlun mountain range. The moment the words leave my mouth, Selena's face changes completely. Command, this is Director Selena of the Bedrock Task Force. Requesting immediate activation of the highest level emergency response. Target, the Kunlun Biological Research Center. What Professor Chase left behind isn't a simple coordinate. He left us Pandora's box. Get me command. I want a helicopter, now. Mobilize the nearest military units to seal off all areas surrounding the Kunlun Biological Research Center. No one in or out. All classified files relating to that facility are to be unsealed immediately and transmitted to my encrypted terminal. Urgent confirmations come back over the comms channel. The entire national security apparatus is set alight in that moment. Selena lowers the radio. Her eyes turn cold. Damien, we may have stumbled into a maelstrom beyond our imagination. Professor Chase's death isn't the end, it's the beginning. Her gaze returns to the screen, to that pulsing red dot, as if some invisible force is awakening there. 10 minutes later, a military helicopter touches down on the National Digital Library's rooftop pad, rotor blades thundering. Selena, Captain Kevin and I board the helicopter. The cabin door seals. The chopper lifts off, climbing fast into the sky, a giant steel raptor cutting through the night, racing toward the Kunlun range on the city's outskirts. The night wind howls outside. Sitting in the cabin, I watch the city lights peel away below me, but my heart only grows heavier. When you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. Welcome to the real world. What is this real world hiding? The Kunlun Biological Research Center, the raw stones, my mentor's death. How are these connected? I draw a deep breath and clench my fists. Whatever is ahead, I will drag it into the light. The helicopter races through the dark. About 40 minutes later, we arrive over the Kunlun Biological Research Center. From the air, it's a vast complex of structures cradled by mountains. At the center stands a fortress-like building of gray concrete, surrounded by high walls topped with razor wire and surveillance cameras. The entire base is hidden beneath dense forest and jagged peaks. Without prior knowledge of its existence, no one would ever guess what's concealed here. The helicopter sets down on a clearing just outside the base. The moment we step off, a cold, damp mountain wind hits us. The ground is already under full control of the Special Operations Forces. Hundreds of fully armed Special Forces soldiers crouch around the base like ghosts. Their commander is a lean man around 40, call sign Falcon. He strides up to Selena and snaps off a sharp salute. Director Selena, the teams are deployed per plan. All suspicious targets within a 1-kilometer perimeter have been screened and contained. No anomalies detected inside the base. Good. Let's move. Falcon leads us toward the main entrance of the base. A massive alloy door is sealed shut, rust crusted across its surface, as if it hasn't been opened in 10 years. Selena brings out her encrypted terminal and works it rapidly. The alloy door rumbles open with a heavy mechanical groan. A wave of cold, damp, mildewed air spills out from within. Inside is a pitch-black corridor. The far end is invisible, as if it leads to an unknown abyss. Falcon signals 2 soldiers to scout ahead. They move forward with submachine guns drawn, tactical flashlights snapping on. 2 beams of light cut through the darkness, illuminating the corridor. Empty. Only the faded warning signs, "Do not enter," peeling from the walls. Selena waves us forward and we file in. Inside, the base is far larger than it appeared from outside. Sealed laboratory doors line both sides of the corridor, covered in dense warning labels. Biohazard. High-risk experiment. Unauthorized personnel do not approach. 10 years of abandonment have filled the place with rot. Thick dust coats the walls and pipes. Moss grows on the floor. Sir, this door shows signs of being pried open. Selena moves forward quickly. This door looks newer than the rest, and the lock area is clearly damaged. Falcon signals his men to breach. A loud crash. The door is forced open. Inside is a spacious laboratory. At its center, a massive metal culture chamber stands silently. Inside the chamber, an amber liquid. And submerged in the liquid, an irregular object, something extremely similar to the raw stones we intercepted at the airport. But this one is far larger, nearly half a person tall. like a giant ugly tumor floating quietly in the fluid, connected to dense bundles of tubes and cables, all converging into a massive control console. The console screens emit a pale green glow, displaying complex biological data and energy readings. What is this? The raw stone? It's alive? My eyes lock onto the giant stone inside the chamber. It isn't still. Its surface is moving, subtle, undulating, as if it were breathing. Falcon, lock this lab down immediately. No one approaches. Begin testing the air, water, and soil. I need to know if there's any biohazard leak. Move! The biochem detection team suits up and enters. Selena steps to the console, her hands working rapidly. She links her encrypted terminal to the console, and a massive transfer of classified data begins. Director, the results are in. Air, water, and soil, all normal. But the energy fluctuations inside this lab are extreme, like a high-output nuclear reactor, continuously generating power. A nuclear reactor? A single raw stone generating reactor-level energy? Selena jerks upright from the console. Her eyes return to the chamber, heavy with grim weight. This was Professor Chase's real target. He wasn't here to steal 3 small raw stones. He was here to activate this larger one. My mind goes blank. Activate. Activate this massive living thing with reactor-level energy. A raw stone of this scale. Just then, Selena's encrypted terminal blares with urgent alarm tones. She glances down. Her face goes ashen. No good. Professor Chase's coordinate isn't the final destination. It's just a key meant to activate a specific device. The Biological Research Center is only a signal relay. The true destination is deeper, in a forbidden zone we've never been able to reach. Deeper? This is the limit of what we can access. Beyond this point lies only the legendary Forbidden Zone, maximum-grade defenses. The blueprints themselves are sealed. Selena ignores him, staring at her encrypted terminal. A new, far more secretive coordinate is now flashing on the screen, located deep below the Kunlun Biological Research Center. Falcon, get me every demolitions expert you have. I need you to blast open a path to that Forbidden Zone in the shortest time possible. Director, that won't work. The zone's defenses are built to nuclear bunker standards. Even with top-tier demolition charges, we estimate 20 hours to crack open a single seam. 20 hours? We don't have that time. Leo already told us the meeting time was 3 o'clock this afternoon. Professor Chase appeared at the library at 3 precisely to stall us and buy them time. He triggered the coordinate, activating the raw stone here. The real purpose is to trigger the Forbidden Zone deeper below. If I'm right, the device inside the zone is already being activated. Her eyes return to the giant raw stone in the chamber. Its surface ripples faster now. The amber liquid begins to glow faintly violet. This large raw stone, it's an energy converter. It absorbs some kind of natural energy, then channels it through Professor Chase's coordinate, converting it into a specific signal. That signal will activate the Forbidden Zone. Professor Chase's purpose wasn't to smuggle the small stones out. It was to send something into the zone. My words make Selena's eyes flash. You're right. Inside that zone, supposedly, is buried a mysterious object our country discovered decades ago. Something from outer space. It was classified at the highest level under the codename, the God Key. The Kunlun Biological Research Center was built precisely to conduct secret research on it. But during that research, something uncontrollable occurred, and we had no choice but to seal it away. What Professor Chase called the gift from heaven and the God Key. That's it. So the Ark doesn't want the raw stones. They want the God Key itself, and the raw stones are the energy cells to start it. Leo was just a courier. Professor Chase was the activator. Their real goal is to use the raw stones to awaken the God Key deep below. If the God Key is awakened, the consequences are beyond prediction. It could destroy everything we have. Is there any other way into the zone? There is. After the disaster 10 years ago, to prevent any uncontrolled mutation inside the zone, we secretly built an emergency self-destruction passage. If anything inside the zone spirals out of control, this passage can be used to inject high-energy material directly and destroy it completely. But the passage is one way. Anyone who enters does not come back. And the interior is rigged with traps and defenses. We've never field-tested it. No one has ever made it through. Take me there. Director, you can't go. You're the task force director. You cannot take this risk. The interior is uncharted, dangerous beyond measure. I am the director. My clearance is the highest here. Only I can disable every alarm and safeguard. Only I can get you through. Damien, come with me. I need your instinct. I need your eyes. Yes, I understand. This isn't just about me anymore. This is for the country, for the people, for the safety of us all. A flicker of respect crosses Falcon's eyes. He says nothing more, and leads us into another hidden corner deep within the base. There stands an alloy door, indistinguishable from the surrounding wall. Under Selena's encrypted command, the door slowly opens, revealing a passage deeper, darker, and colder than any before. At the entrance, a red warning sign reads, "No entry for the living." I draw a deep breath and look at Selena. Her face is unnervingly calm. Let's go. I follow her in. Captain Kevin and Falcon hold position with the remaining soldiers at the entrance. Listen well. Before the door closes, no matter what happens, without my order, no one approaches, no one enters. Violators will be shot on sight. The alloy door seals slowly behind us. We are now cut off completely, swallowed by unknown darkness. Only our own heartbeats remain in our ears, and a growing, suffocating scent of death. This is the Forbidden Zone. The alloy door has cut off every connection to the outside world. Darkness wraps around us like thick black ink, cold and damp. carrying the smell of rusting metal and rotting dust. Selena switches on her tactical flashlight. A blade of white light cuts through 10 years of silence. The beam reveals a long, narrow tunnel stretching beyond sight. The walls aren't concrete. They're made of an unfamiliar metal with a dark, silvery sheen. The surface utterly smooth, with no seams at all, as if the entire tunnel was carved out of a single colossal piece of metal. This is the highest grade military alloy from 10 years ago, theoretically capable of withstanding a small nuclear blast. Stay close. From this moment we are at full combat readiness. Any unconfirmed living thing is to be treated as hostile. Even without the flashlight, I can faintly make out the outlines around us. The tunnel runs long. We've walked maybe 5 minutes when, without warning, my heart clenches. A surge of intense danger washes in from directly ahead. Stop! Selena reacts instantly. The moment I speak, she's already halted. Weapon raised forward, body taut as a drawn bow. What is it? Something's ahead. I can't tell what it is, but it's dangerous. You're sure? Certain. I stare into the darkness ahead. The sense of danger grows stronger, as if an invisible eye were watching us coldly from the dark. Selena doesn't question my judgment. She takes out a small glow stick and hurls it forward. It flies about 50 meters and lands lightly on the floor. Instantly, the corridor ahead of us erupts with countless blood-red beams, weaving in under a tenth of a second into a vast, lethal three-dimensional laser grid. The glow stick is instantly sliced into a fine powder. Infrared-triggered laser grid, the military's top-tier defense. Once triggered, nothing living gets through. How did you sense it? Instinct. What do we do? A system like this has to have a pattern. Either a fixed time interval or a specific override code. We don't have a code, we can only wait. Wait for it to run out of power, or find a window when it shuts down. So we wait in the darkness. 1 minute, 5, 10. Standard defense systems use pulse cycles to conserve power. They can't stay on standby indefinitely unless... Selena seems to think of something. She pulls from her pocket a small metal ball and gently pushes it forward with her foot. The ball rolls silently across the smooth floor. 1 meter. 2. Nothing happens. It's not infrared, not motion, so what is the trigger? Sound. It's triggered by sound. The glow stick made a faint impact noise when it landed. But this metal ball is solid. Its roll is almost completely silent. Selena's pupils tighten. She slowly raises a hand, gives the silent sign, then points forward. Her meaning is clear. From here on, we must make absolutely no sound. Not breathing, not even our heartbeats. An almost impossible task. Our eyes meet, and we each see the same resolve in the other. Like two ghosts, we step, slowly, into the killing zone. By the time I finally step out of it, my combat gear is soaked through with sweat. We made it. We slipped under the scythe of death. But the relief of survival has no time to settle. At the end of the corridor ahead, a door appears. An alloy door, slightly ajar. A pale, sickly light bleeds out from the gap. Selena and I exchange a glance. She gives the tactical sign. She breaches. I cover. We hug the walls on either side and approach the door. Our hearts climb back into our throats. Selena kicks the door open hard, rolls through, and I follow right behind. But when we take in the scene inside, we both freeze completely. This is a massive circular central control chamber, the size of a basketball court. The walls are inlaid with countless huge display screens, but every screen is dark. The chamber is in ruin. Tables and chairs overturned. Documents strewn across the floor, thick dust covering everything, as if time froze here at the moment of the disaster 10 years ago. And the source of the heavy stench of blood lies beneath that raised platform. There, more than a dozen bodies. They wear white lab coats. They've withered into dried skeletons. Some bled from every orifice, faces twisted, bones shattered. Others have a massive hole punched through their chests by some sharp weapon. This is the site of the disaster from 10 years ago, a scene from hell. They were all core researchers in the Kunlun project. My teacher, Professor Theodore, was one of the project leaders. After the incident, he was listed as missing. I never believed he died in a place like this. Her eyes search across the skeletons, as if looking for a familiar figure. I don't disturb her. I stay on full alert, taking in the eerie chamber. My instinct tells me this place is more dangerous than the laser corridor. My gaze falls on the platform. At its center sits a huge circular depression, empty now. But around the rim, I see strange violet crystals. This is where the God Key was kept. 10 years ago, it vanished from that spot. No, it didn't vanish. It was released. She crouches beside one skeleton. The body is locked in a position of extreme agony, both hands gripping its own skull, as if trying to crush its head with bare hands. Selena pulls something from between the finger bones. A black voice recorder, badly crushed. She tries the playback button. A burst of harsh static. Then the recorder plays a man's voice, distorted by sheer terror. Stop singing! Stop! Make it stop! The song is poison! It's getting into my head! Selena and I stare at each other. A chill shoots from the base of my spine to the crown of my skull. Wait, I suddenly notice something terrifying. Since the moment we entered this chamber, it has been unnaturally silent. No hum of equipment. Even our own footsteps seem to be swallowed by the silence. This is a zone of absolute silence. The instant I realize it, a sharp agony explodes inside my skull, as if 1,000 steel needles were driven into my temples at once. An eerie, indescribable sound rises without warning directly inside my mind. Damien! I hear Selena's frantic shout, but I can't respond. My consciousness is being devoured by the terrible melody, grief, terror. Every negative emotion amplified to infinity in this moment. My sanity is collapsing fast. I'm losing it. Just as the darkness is about to swallow me, a sharp slap lands across my face. The sharp pain jolts me back to clarity. I see Selena's face, full of urgency and worry. A trickle of blood runs from the corner of her mouth. Clearly she's been hit by the song too, but she's biting through her own tongue to stay conscious. Block it out! Don't listen! Don't think! Hold your mind! This is a psychic attack! I clench my teeth, the taste of blood spreading through my mouth, trying to anchor every shred of attention to the pain, using it to resist the song that seeps in through every pore. And in that moment, the customs badge against my chest, my mentor's keepsake, a plain, ordinary thing, suddenly emits a faint warmth. It floods through my body in an instant, surging into my mind. The frenzied, chaotic song, in the face of that warm energy, recoils as if struck by its natural enemy. It retreats fast. My mind clears. The agony fades with it. Selena stares at me, her eyes filled with disbelief. "You're okay?" "It saved me. What is that?" "My mentor's keepsake. I don't know why it's glowing, but it seems to block this kind of psychic attack." Just then, the entire central chamber begins to shake violently. The dark screens lining the walls all flare to life. What appears isn't data, it's an eye. A massive, eerie eye, laced with countless violet veins. Its pupil locks onto Selena and me. Unknown life forms detected. Class 1 clearance key detected. ARC Project Phase 2 initiated. Objective: eliminate the anomalies. The ARC Project, Professor Chase's organization. They've taken control of this place. Before her words finish, the bottom of the empty circular depression on the platform splits open slowly. A lift made of unknown metal rises from below, carrying a single object. A massive irregular sphere assembled from countless violet glowing crystal shards, jagged and uneven, its surface covered in deep, eye-like vortices. The vortices rotate slowly, radiating a malice that makes the heart clench. I stare at the sphere, my throat dry. This is what the nation has been searching for, has hidden for 10 years. The ultimate secret, an ominous thing from outer space. The sphere lets out a low, deep hum. The chamber shakes harder, the walls begin to split, and countless thick black metal cables like tentacles burst out through the cracks. Selena shouts and pulls me to the nearest console for cover. More cables sweep in from every direction, sealing off every escape. Selena raises her sidearm and unleashes a hail of bullets at the incoming cables. The rounds strike their surface, sparks bursting in chains. But nothing more. They leave no real damage at all. "It's no use! These are the base's own defense system. Conventional weapons won't touch them. We have to find the control core and shut it down. The core is in that sphere. Cover me, buy me 3 seconds. Then she draws her last item from her tactical vest. A silver, thumb-sized, diamond-shaped charge. A high-energy fusion bomb. I recognize it. It's one of national security's most classified pieces of equipment, powerful enough to blow through a meter of steel plate. But its detonation time is 3 full seconds. In those 3 seconds, she will be a living target. No! Too dangerous. There's no time. This is our only way out. She gives me no chance to argue. She rolls out from cover. I roar and unload every round left in my magazine. But not at the cables. I aim at the ceiling above them. Aging wiring and pipes take the rounds and erupt into bursts of sparks and steam. The whole chamber is engulfed in smoke and blinding electric flashes. The cable's tracking is momentarily blocked. At that precious 1 second, Selena has already reached the foot of the platform, has armed the bomb, and with every ounce of her strength hurls it at the massive violet sphere. The next instant, a cable whips into her and sends her flying across the chamber. The silver charge traces a desperate arc through the air. Time freezes in that moment. Then, an eardrum-tearing thunderclap. A devastating shockwave hits. I feel like I've been struck head-on by a speeding train. My body is hurled into the air and slammed back down. Before everything goes black, I think I see the massive violet sphere at the heart of the blast is not destroyed. Only its surface has been split open, a single fracture, and from that fracture, a slow flow of energy, darker than any abyss, purer than the void of space, bleeds out, violet black. The last image of the world is that giant eye, filling every screen. I don't know how long I'm out. Maybe a minute, maybe a century. Consciousness drags me back into my body through a sharp ringing and searing pain. I come to. I try to open my eyes. Everything is blurred. Black spots dance wildly across my vision. I try to lift my hand to wipe my face, but my arm is heavy as lead. Every small movement tears at every muscle, sending splitting pain through my body. Finally, I prop myself up against a fallen metal plate, just barely raising my upper body. My vision slowly clears, and then I see what lies before me. Hell on earth. The control chamber has been reduced to rubble. The console we hid behind has been torn apart by the blast, sparks of live current flickering at the brakes. Every wall screen has shattered. The air reeks of gunpowder smoke and something burning. My eyes cut through the haze toward the platform. The platform is still there. The massive, irregular violet sphere is still there too, hanging silently in place. My heart sinks. Like a madman, I tear through the rubble. I rasp Selena's name, my voice so weak in the vast, dead chamber, so small, only my own echo answers. I bear the agony through my whole body and crawl through the wreckage on hands and knees, lifting heavy chunks of metal one by one. Sharp edges slice my fingers bloody. I don't feel any of it. Only one thought. Find her. Find her. Finally, behind a collapsed stack of server cabinets, I find Selena. She's lying still, covered in dust and broken stone. her face pale as paper, drained of color, a thread of red blood at the corner of her mouth. Her combat suit is torn in several places, blood soaking the fabric. Her eyes are closed. She doesn't move. She looks as if she isn't breathing. I reach out, trembling, holding my fingers near her nose. The faintest touch of breath, barely perceptible. She's alive. Carefully, I clear the debris from her body and lift her out of the rubble. Her body is light and cold. I press my ear to her chest, and I hear it, a heartbeat, faint but stubborn beyond words. I check her wounds. Severe. I tear off a sleeve that's still relatively clean and press it hard against the wound. It's not enough. The blood soaks through the cloth in moments. If this continues, she'll bleed out and die. What do I do? There's no medical equipment here. We're trapped in this godforsaken sealed pit, cut off from the world. Just then, the customs badge against my chest, the one left to me by Master Reyes, radiates that faint, warm energy again. As if guided by something I can't explain, I unpin the badge. A miracle. I stare, struck speechless by what I see in front of me. The wound that was bleeding without stop begins to seal at a speed visible to the eye. I don't have time to question it. All I know is that Selena is out of immediate danger. I let out a breath and collapse to the floor, the exhaustion of survival crashing over me like a tide. Leaning against the wall, I gulp for air, and in that moment, out of the corner of my eye, on the other side of the chamber, the skeletons. The researchers who should have been dead for 10 years. They're moving. Not a hallucination. I see it clearly. More than a dozen white skeletons scattered around the platform are trembling, slowly, eerily. The violet-black tendrils, like small venomous snakes, slither back into the bones. That's the ominous energy leaking from the crack in the god key. It didn't vanish. It found new hosts. Bone scrapes against bone with a sound that sets teeth on edge. The skeletons on the floor, their bones are being forcibly reassembled, reattached. They're slowly rising. No, that's not standing. Their bodies twist into postures that defy human anatomy, propped upright by that violet-black energy. Something begins to grow on them. Semi-transparent crystals, shimmering with that uncanny violet glow. In mere seconds, the skeletons have completely transformed. No longer human in shape. They've become grotesque humanoid figures made of violet crystal. Their bodies a strange, semi-transparent substance. They carry no weapons. They simply stand there in silence. More than a dozen pairs of eyes that don't exist turn all at once toward Selena and me. In that instant, I feel my soul freeze. What the hell are those? The God Key's energy. It's contaminated the bodies. Purify. Eliminate. So this is their plan. They want to turn this place into their nest. Her words send a chill through me. A nest. Could these crystal creatures be the new species the Ark has been trying to create? Even as we speak, the crystal creatures begin to move. The one closest to us slowly raises its arm and points at us. Then its body starts to melt, like a wax figure under intense heat, rapidly liquefying into a violet, viscous pool. The pool spreads fast across the floor, flowing toward us like something alive. Its goal isn't to attack us, it's to transform us. No time to think. I lift Selena onto my back and run. Our retreat is cut off. This place has become a sealed, hopeless cage. Where can I go? My eyes scan the wrecked consoles. Most are scrap metal now. But in the corner, embedded in the wall, an emergency backup terminal. Its screen is still lit. With Selena on my back, I gather every last ounce of strength and rush to it. I set her down. With my other hand, I work the dust-caked touchscreen frantically, pulling up the base's structural map. Finally, the three-dimensional layout appears on the screen. This place is far more complex than I imagined. Beneath the control chamber we're in, there are 5 more massive levels. Experimental zones, power zones, biome simulation zones, genetic engineering zones.